It was a typical day in the life of me, Peach, a normal girl who lived a normal life. But one day, my world was turned upside down when I was asked to participate in a social experiment. The experiment required me to spend 1 week with a poor family and 1 week with a rich family in order to compare and contrast the experiences. I was both excited and nervous about the opportunity. I knew that it was a once-in-a-lifetime chance to see how others lived and to broaden my horizons. So I packed my bag and set off. The first week, I found myself in the home of the poor family. They introduced themselves as the Hendersons. Mr. and Mrs. Henderson and their 2 lovely children, Jack and Lily, lived in a small, cramped house in a run-down neighbourhood. I arrived at the Hendersons' home on Monday morning. I had never spent time with a family outside of my own before, and I wasn't sure what to expect.
Welcome to our home, Peach. I'm glad you could join us for the week.
Thank you for having me. I felt a bit awkward.
Don't be shy. We're a friendly bunch. Make yourself at home.
On Monday, I spent the day getting to know the Hendersons and their home. Mrs. Henderson gave me a tour of the house, which was small but cosy. In the afternoon, Mr. Henderson took me to the community garden, where we tended to the vegetables and herbs. For dinner, Mrs. Henderson made a hearty stew, with beans, vegetables, and a few scraps of meat that she had saved. On Tuesday morning, I helped the Hendersons with their chores. This included sweeping the floors and washing the dishes. In the afternoon, we went to the local beach for a picnic. We packed sandwiches, fruit, and drinks from home, and enjoyed a leisurely afternoon in the sunshine.
I used to be a sailor. I've traveled to every corner of the world, and I've seen all kinds of sights.
Wow, that must have been amazing! I was fascinated by Mr. Henderson's adventures.
It was. But the most important thing I learned is that it's not where you go or what you have. It's who you have by your side.
On Wednesday, I joined the Hendersons on a trip to the park. We packed a lunch and spent the afternoon playing on the swings, slides, and playing tag. I was struck by how much fun the Hendersons were having with each other, even without the need for expensive toys or gadgets.
This is the best day ever.
I couldn't agree more. As the sun began to set, the Hendersons gathered on a blanket to watch the sunset. I joined them. We sipped lemonade and ate sandwiches and watched the colours of the sky change. This is so beautiful.
It is. There's nothing like spending time with the people you love in nature.
It was a simple yet profound moment that had reminded me of the importance of spending time with loved ones and appreciating the beauty of the world around me. On Thursday, I joined Jack and Lily in a game of catch in the backyard. Mr. Henderson joined in and taught me how to throw a proper spiral. In the evening, we gathered around the television to watch a movie. We made fresh popcorn on the stove. On Friday, I helped Mrs. Henderson with the baking. We made chocolate chip cookies from a recipe passed down in her family. We also made a batch of bread to last them through the weekend. Dinner, Mrs. Henderson made a simple but delicious pasta dish with homemade tomato sauce. On Saturday, the Hendersons invited some of their neighbours over for a barbecue in the backyard. Everyone brought a dish to share, and we had a lively, fun evening together. I was touched by the Hendersons' hospitality and the strong sense of community in their neighbourhood. On Sunday morning, the Hendersons attended their local church, and I joined them. Afterward, we had a quiet day at home, playing board games and relaxing. Mrs. Henderson made a delicious roast for dinner, and we all sat down and enjoyed our last leisurely meal together. As the week came to a close, I was sad to say goodbye to the Hendersons. I'd grown attached to the family and I'd learned so much from them. I could feel my eyes welling up with tears.
We'll miss you, Peach, but we hope you'll come visit us again sometime.
I will. I'll never forget my time with you. I was struck by the Hendersons' appreciation for the simple things in life. Despite their lack of material possessions, they seemed to have an abundance of love and joy. The second week of the experiment, I found myself in the home of the rich family. They introduced themselves as the Carltons. Mr. and Mrs. Carlton and their 2 children, Grant and Madison, lived in a luxurious mansion in the wealthiest part of town. Unlike what I had expected, the Carltons were kind and warm, just like the Hendersons. They welcomed me into their home with open arms and made sure I had everything I needed. Mr. and Mrs. Carlton were attentive and loving parents, and Grant and Madison were friendly and inclusive.
Welcome to our home, Peach. We hope you'll feel comfortable here.
Thank you. For lunch, we had a gourmet spread of sandwiches, salads, and fruit served on the patio.
I hope the food meets with your approval.
It's delicious. On Tuesday, the Carltons wanted to take me out for a tour of the city. They showed me all of the best shopping, dining, and entertainment spots. They bought me whatever I wanted. It was all so overwhelming. I couldn't shake the feeling that they were just trying to impress me.
Is there anything else you'd like to do today?
I don't know. This is all so new to me.
We understand. We just want you to have a good time and enjoy your stay with us.
On Wednesday, I spent the day with Grant and Madison, who took me to their private school and introduced me to their friends. On Thursday, the Carltons invited some of their friends over for a dinner party. The setup was nothing short of spectacular, with an elegant table setting decorated superbly, and each seat had a neatly placed name card in front. I was introduced to a bunch of new people, all of whom were wealthy and successful. I found the conversation a bit stiff and the atmosphere formal, but I tried my best to fit in.
So, Peach, what do you think of our little gathering?
It's nice. Everyone is very friendly.
Glad to hear it. Here's to new friendships and good times.
On Friday, I spent the day with Mrs. Carlton. She took me to the spa for a day of pampering. We had massages, facials, and manicures. Afterwards, we shopped for clothes and accessories. I couldn't deny that I was enjoying myself, but I also couldn't shake the feeling that it was all just a bit too much.
I hope you're having a good time, Peach.
I am, but I can't help but feel a bit overwhelmed by all of this.
I understand. It can be a lot to take in, especially if you're not used to this kind of lifestyle. But please don't feel like you have to do or be anything you're not comfortable with. We just want you to have a good time and feel welcome here.
On Saturday, the Carltons took me on a boat ride along the coast. We spent the day swimming, sunbathing, and having a lovely picnic on the beach. I had to admit, I was having a lot of fun. But I also couldn't help but compare it to the simpler pleasures I'd experienced with the Hendersons. This is beautiful.
Yes, it is. We're very lucky to be able to do this kind of thing.
But it's not just about the money or the possessions, is it? It's about the people you share it with.
Exactly. That is the most important thing.
On Sunday morning, the Carltons attended church and I joined them. Afterward, we had a quiet day at home, relaxing by the pool and playing games. It was a lovely way to finish off my week with the Carltons. In the evening, we had a fancy candlelit dinner. The Carltons spared no expense. I just wanted to thank you for hosting me this week. I've learned so much and had a lot of fun.
We're glad to have had you here. You're always welcome to visit us again.
I went to bed that night feeling grateful for my time with the Carltons. Despite their wealth and status, they were kind, generous people who made me feel right at home. I knew that I would always treasure my time here. As I reflected on my time with the Hendersons and the Carltons, I realised that both families had taught me valuable lessons. The Hendersons had shown me that love and joy could be found in the simplest of things, while the Carltons had demonstrated the importance of generosity and compassion. But most importantly, I learned that it didn't matter what someone had, or where they came from. What mattered was the kind of person that they were, and how they treated others. I knew that I would always be grateful for the opportunity to spend time with both families, and that the experience I had with them would stay with me for the rest of my life.